Welcome back everybody, it's mtga, and today we're playing Whir of Paradoxes in Historic. So this is a deck built around Paradox Engine, which is a legendary artifact that lets us untap all of our non-land spells whenever we cast a spell. So unfortunately we can't use it to untap our mana, like our land for mana, but we can use it to untap Mind Stone and Power Stone Shard for mana. So since we're playing multiples in Power Stone Shard, this gets better and better the more copies we have in play. And thanks to Sculpting Steel and a copy of Mirror Maid, since I don't have the second copy of Sculpting Steel, honestly, it's a better choice, obviously, but we're playing it and it still works. It fits the role. We're trying to have as many of these in play to generate absurd amounts of mana, so that way with our Forsaken Monument, getting that additional mana, untapping with Paradox Engine, bouncing it all back with our paradoxical outcome so we can draw a bunch of cards, shooting our opponent with aetherflux reservoir for 50, which is a lot of fun. Karn to be able to grab anything we need out of the sideboard, including the fourth copy of Paradox Engine, the third copy of aetherflux reservoir, and like things to do with our opponent's board, like Perilous Vault and Ugin, River's Rebuke, which we also have 4 copies of Fae Wishes to grab stuff out of the Wish board. So you can imagine that between Fae Wishes and Karn and absurd amounts of mana, we can pretty much have any answer we need as long as we get our setup started. Which is pretty good because Mind Stone is pretty hard for our opponent to deal with. It's an artifact. Most people don't play main deck artifact hate, and it's not a creature. Same thing with Power Stone Shard, so they're not going to be able to deal with this very often. Maze Mind Totem is going to help us find cards off the top, which is pretty cool. Stonecoil Serpent's a good way to close out the game, and it's an early to mid game just chump blocker wall or whatever that your opponent can't get through. Whir of Invention is especially good in this deck because despite it costing triple blue in a colorless deck, for most of what it's worth, it's a colorless deck. It allows us to tutor for any artifact out of our deck, which means Paradox Engine if we need it, Forsaken Monument, Aetherflux, you get the idea. Whatever we need to close out the combo and have the engines really rolling, Whir of Invention is going to fit that role. And on the bright side, Paradox Engine taps for a mana, which it'll untap itself again anyway, thanks to its own ability. Forsaken Monument will tap for mana itself. Aetherflux Reservoir will tap for mana with Whir of Invention's improvisability. And in the mana base, it's really not super stressful because we can get away with the colorless by playing Ipnu Rivulet by a couple copies because it taps for colorless or a blue, whichever we need. So it's going to be benefited for the Forsaken Monument. We are playing 10 islands, which is a lot, but we're not playing all 4 copies of Forsaken Monument anyways. We're not that kind of deck. We're not focused on that necessarily. Paradox Engine is where most of our mana is going to come from. We're playing a copy of Blaststone to deal with our opponent's permanents, a copy of Buried Room and to buy back our artifacts, 2 copies of Crawling Barrens to close out the game and have blockers. Inventor's Fair, this gains us a life at the beginning of our upkeep as long as we control 3 or more artifacts, aka Metalcraft if you're familiar with that ability, and we can pay 4 and sacrifice it to search our library for an artifact card, put it into our hand and shuffle our library. Activate this ability only if we control 3 or more artifacts, Metalcraft. We're also playing 1 copy of Scavenger Grounds to deal with our opponent's graveyard, and all 4 copies of Spire of Industry. This is a new card from Kaladesh, and this is really good for the deck because it taps for any color as long as we have an artifact, which we're always going to have an artifact. That's a majority of the deck. So in the blue, we're also playing 3 copies of Sai Master Thopterist because this is just going to make a bunch of blockers, chump blockers, and occasionally things that can beat down, chip away damage at loyalties from planeswalkers and all that good stuff. This is the sideboard. I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to check it out. Leave a link on today's video if you like today's video. Leave a comment down below if you have any suggestions, any cards, or any archetypes you want to see on camera. And don't be afraid to join the Discord. Don't be afraid to join the Discord and say hello. Come help me brew a deck or two. And soon I'm going to be doing some giveaways and everything, so you definitely want to get in on the Discord for that anyway, because you're going to have to. That'll be part of it. And let's take this into the arena and see how we do with Whir of Paradoxes and Historic. Alright, our opponent's on the play up against Kratos, and our hand is like okay. Maze Mind Totem can help us find the lands. We need some more blue for Whir of Invention to be good. Sai will help us create some blockers. Forsaken Monument. This is also really good too as an interaction. Sai creates 1/1s that become 3/3s with Forsaken Monument, so that's pretty good too. Inspire Industries, 1 blue mana, so there's that. We do have the necessary means for that. Breeding Pool. We'll just play our Spire of Industry and pass. It's probably holding up an Opt or something. It was either that or like Spectral Sailor. I was expecting to see like Simic Flash. That would have been a blast from Last Standard. Explore. So it's Teamer Ramp. Okay. We'll play the Maze Mind Tome. Just pass it up, just in case. I gotta sneeze. Alright. Uro. So we're gonna go ahead and put the stop on our upkeep first. Scry. Found a Maze Mind Tome, so we don't need the stop anymore. Draw. Play Spire, play Power Stone Shard. Pass it up. So now we have 4 mana. A land off the top means Forsaken Monument gets crazy good. Power Stone Shard is gonna help. The second copy of Power Stone Shard is gonna be good. I'm not sure what our opponent's gonna be holding up now. Pass to attackers. It's my turn. We'll put the stop scry. Opponent decides to give up. Good game. Okay, opponent's on the play. And our opening hand is not terrible. Mind Stone into Power Stone Shard is pretty good. Paradox Engine's going to help. We have triple blue, so we have the Whir Invention mana. Yeah, this hand's great. Double Whir. That means we can, you know, with all this mana set up in Paradox Engine, yeah, this is going to be nuts. Up against blue-red. Hopefully not a counter-heavy deck. We'll see. I think I played against Atlas before, actually. And as I recall, I think they're a pretty good player. Shock from our opponent. Alright, so it's probably, is it spells? It's probably like wizards or something. Counterburn, maybe. Hold up the island. Ooh, another Power Stone Shard's pretty cool too. We'll take that. 2 mana open. Alright, opponent shocks us again. Paradox Engine coming down soon. Rail Storm Conduit. I'll right click it so it's up on the screen for you guys. Opponent's going to be scrying with it. So Inventor's Fair off the top means we get to play our Paradox Engine. Alright, so I'm trying to maximize on this. Yeah, so let's play it like this. Right, so now this taps for 2. Yeah, let's just play the Paradox Engine. So I could have got like one extra spell out of it, but it just would have been another Paradox Engine. So that would have been irrelevant. If I played the Paradox Engine first, but we wouldn't have had enough blue for the Whir of Invention either. So even though I misplayed, it didn't really like burn me any more. Like I still made as much progress as I would have anyway. Mind Stone's pretty cool. Yeah, let's go ahead. Tap. Colorless, float the mana, untap everything. Opponent has no counter spells, it seems. So 1, 2. Add a blue. Go ahead and tap everything for colorless again. 3 is 9. So what do we grab? Grab aetherflux, I guess. So we'll just pay X4. Yeah, aetherflux reservoir seems pretty cool. So yeah, opponent decides to scoop it up. Yeah, they've seen enough. Alright, in our last game up against Inertia. Loris of the Dream Den for our opponent is their companion. So everything permanent wise costs 2 or less. It's most likely Rakdos or black white or blue black. Ah, geez, there's so much to keep track of honestly with that deck. And this hand seems okay. It's not terrible. It's not the worst. So we're gonna keep it. Nice sleeves from our opponent. I believe that is the like Final Fantasy-ish, like, you know, anime themed Narset. I was trying to think of the Planeswalker. Ooh, Merfolk? Are we up against Merfolk? Are you playing Merfolk? Don't you lie to me, Inertia. Are you playing Loris Merfolk? Oh no, this is a blue white, like, oh god, no. Oh Jesus. Holy sh! Welcome back, everybody. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Today we went 2-1, and holy crap, that last game was fast. Like that deck, that was crazy. I'm definitely I'm gonna be brewing with that pretty soon. That looks like a lot of fun. So, anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, again, please consider leaving a like on today's video. It really helps the channel. Hit the subscribe and the bell if you're not already subscribed and you're a pretty reoccurring viewer and all that stuff, and you enjoy the content. Also, consider hopping in the Discord. Say hello to me down below down there. Also, you know, so you can help brew some decks and everything like that. And that's it for today, everyone. Thank you for watching. And as always, I'll see you next time.